All right, welcome back to 806HSSCTV. I'm Jason Pearson, your host today, doing it all solo. Vic's out. He'll be back next week. Make sure to keep up with all updated standings and schedules and everything 806 High School Sports on the 806HSSC mobile app. We will have that app updated with basketball scores here in the next 2 weeks, but all football, everything is on that app. You can get it in the iTunes store or get it at Google Play. All right, let's go over some more districts. How about District 1-3A Division 1? Littlefield beats Childress 20-12. DeMondrick Moore, 24 carries, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Seems like every week he's grabbing 2 touchdowns. Great job for Littlefield, starting 1-0 under Coach Huseman. You also had Muleshoe beat River Road 21-7. Josh Lopez had 3 touchdowns for Muleshoe, and that bodes well for Muleshoe because they have a great passing game already with Daniel Capos and Keegan Gonzalez. And now you have to run it. Muleshoe is going to be a threat. Something to deal with here later on when it gets colder. All right, and you also have Freona beat Dimmitt 53-0. That brings us to our player of the week for week 7, Gabriel Chico of Freona. He had 6 carries for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. He did all that in the first half. Great job for Freona Chieftains. Great job for Gabriel Chico. Keep it going, man. Keep working hard. Listen to your coaches, man. Keep it going. All right, next week you have Littlefield taking on River Road. You also have Muleshoe and Freona. Big game right there. 2-0 teams in that district looking to take a leg up in that district. And you also have Dimmitt and Childress. Dimmitt will be fine. They're struggling right now. They just, they'll turn it around. They got a great coach and a great team, So let's go to District 1-3A Division 2. How about Tulia beating Roosevelt 19-12? Roosevelt was up 12-6 at the half. Tulia comes out now, scores them in the second half 13-0. Roosevelt got tested. They came up a little short, but I'm still impressed with the way they hung in there with Tulia because Tulia is a great team. How about Idalou beating Highland Park 52-7? You had Brant Schilling get a receiving touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and he also had a 43-yard punt return for a touchdown. They were up 52-0 after 3 quarters. Like we said before, Idalou is the real deal. And then you also had Spearman beating Sanford Fritch 46-0. To me, it looks like it's going to be Spearman and Idalou going all the way down to the end when they play each other for that district title. Okay, let's go to District 3A, 3-2A Division 2. You had Crosbyton beating Quanah 35-0. Crosbyton, 35 points. Quanah with 0. That shocks you, folks. So now, a lot of questions about Crosbyton. Can they do it? Can they get it done? All those questions were answered. How about Nathan Childress? 212 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns. Like we said, that is a massive, massive offensive line they're running behind, and they are the real deal. Crosbyton is looking to do some big things in 2014. You had Clarendon beating Lockney 20-19, and you also had Memphis beating Rawls 35-8. So next week, big showdown, big rivalry, Crosbyton versus Rawls. I will be there to cover that game. You also have Lockney taking on Memphis, and you have Clarendon taking on Quanah. Quanah looking to bounce back. And how about Clarendon looking to go 2-0 in that district? Who would have thought that? All right, let's go over 3A Division 2. That houses Post, Coahoma, Coleman, Stanton, Ballinger. Post loses to Coleman 28-0 after half. The weather was too bad, so they called the game. Post will bounce back. Post is a great team, great community. They took a loss, but Coleman is 7-0 in rank. So, can't really hang your head on that. You guys will be fine. Just keep it pushing. All right, now let's go over District 2-3A. My most, kind of influential district I looked at. I went out there to Brownfield. Brownfield beats Denver City 42-14. Jalen Nolan is a freshman for Brownfield, but he's looking like a junior or senior. I mean, he was commanding that offense. When he took off and got out the pocket, he went 30, 40 yards. That defense was hitting hard. And Denver City, kind of shocks me. I put this up on my page, the shocking stat of the week. Denver City gave up 78 points in the last 2 games and only scored 14. That comes off of beating the number 6 ranked Sonora team. Denver City, they're kind of struggling right now, but expect them and Coach Taylor to turn it right back around. The Mustangs will trot on. Let's go ahead to Shallowater beating Kerman 55-0. Cooper Ogle, 15 carries, 165 yards, and 4 touchdowns in the first half. He didn't even play the second half. Shallowater is a real deal. And then you had Slayton beating Tornillo 35-0. Slayton had a way to respond right there for Slayton. All right, next week you'll have Brownfield traveling to Tornillo, a 7.5-hour drive, so parents and everybody be safe on that travel out there and hopefully bring yourselves back and win. Then you also have Denver City taking on Kermit. Denver City and Kermit both looking for their first win in District 2-3A. And then you also have Shallow Water at Slayton. 2 1-0 teams looking to get a leg up in District 2-3A. Man, what a week. All right, when we come back on 806 HSSCTV, I'll be previewing the last 5 districts and their schedules for next week. Jason Pearson, 806 HSSCTV. Alright, welcome back to 806 HSSCTV, continuing our last round of district overview and schedules for next week. What a great week coming up next week. Let's get back to this big week right here and finish this out. Alright, let's go to District 1-4A. Estacado beats Borger 21-7. That was a penalty-laced game. Our 806 intern Jeffrey Romans covered that game, said there was a lot of penalties, a lot of flags. How about Jalen Tennyson? 210 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns and a 49-yard touchdown with a minute left to seal the game. Then you also had Seminole beating Levelland 40-28. Great win for Coach Ken Jackson, the former Coronado coach, getting the district started off right. Levelland lost 2 straight games and are looking to bounce back. Next week, you have Estacado traveling to Levelland. A big game for Estacado, an even bigger game for Levelland. They need that win right there at home. Hopefully get some home cooking. And then you also have Pampa, that took a week off last week, taking on Seminole at home. Big games right there at District 1-4A. All right, let's jump over to District 3-5A. The Amarillo District is what I call it. Canyon beats Dumas 27-14. You also had Canyon Randall beating Hereford 55-14. How about Canyon Randall, folks? 664 yards rushing. Woo! That's a lot of rushing yards to give up, but I see Hereford bouncing back. And you also had Paladuro beating Caprock 53-14. All right, next week you'll have Canyon going to Hereford. You also have Dumas taking on Paladuro, and that'll be on a Thursday. And you also have Caprock taking on Randall at 7:30 on Friday. All right, let's jump over to District 4-5A. Abilene Cooper, a ranked team, a very dangerous team, beating Lubbock High 24-3. They called the game at halftime due to bad weather. Coach Trump will get that team together. They are a second-half team. It's a shame they didn't get to play the second half. Who knows what the score might have been. And you also have Lubbock Cooper beating San Angelo Lakeview 35-19. Lubbock Cooper is on a roll, playing great. But how about San Angelo Lakeview putting up a challenge? It wasn't an easy game. Lubbock Cooper had to pull away late. And Plainview took a week off. And then for next week, you'll have Plainview at home against Abilene Cooper. How about Plainview winning 3 straight games, getting a week off to rest up and get ready for Abilene Cooper? That's going to be a big game. And you also have Lubbock High at home versus Lubbock Cooper on Thursday night. We will be covering that game. That's a big district game for Lubbock High. Lubbock Cooper looking to get 2-0 in district already. And San Angelo Lakeview will be taking the week off. All right, let's jump over here to District 2-6A. You have Friendship beating Monterey 63-28. How about Grant Sandercox for Friendship? 264 yards and 6 touchdowns rushing on the ground. Great job for him. Vincent Johnson was averaging 4 touchdowns a game. He only got 1 against Friendship. But look for Vincent Johnson and Monterey to bounce back. And you also have the Amarillo Sandys beating Coronado 56-10. I was at that game the whole game. Amarillo was up 49-10 at halftime. Spencer Simpson is a big boy back, is what I call him. He likes contact. 205 yards and 4 touchdowns, 3 of those in the first quarter against Coronado. So that takes us to next week's games. Tascosa took a week off, and now probably the biggest game in this region next week. They will take on Friendship at home. Big game for 268. Tascosa, will they be 7-0? Will Friendship get a big win over Amarillo team? All right, then you have Monterey and Coronado, the rivalry. Big time rivalry. Wish it could have been the last game of the season, but nevertheless, this is going to be a great game. We will be there to cover it. Jeffrey Romans. What a game, folks. And that right there will wrap up the 806HSSCTV previews. Now, I'll come back after the break and we'll announce our Elite 8 Players of the Week. Jason Pearson, 806HSSCTV.
Let's do this, Johnny.
All right, it's Jason Pearson. I'm back. 806HSSCTV. Remember to go get the app in Google Play and in the Apple Store. 806HSSC Mobile is for your phone. It's great. All you got to do is search 806. It'll come up first. All right, let's go over our top 10 players of the week. I went from Elite 8 to top 10 because in District, of course, you have a lot more performances. Let's start out with Seagrave's offensive line, allowing 3 players, Tanner Rodriguez, Richard Longoria, and Corey Kyle, to go over 100 yards, and they had 7 total TDs rushing. That offensive line is the real deal. You can't get nothing done without the big boys up front making their way. How about Gabriel Chico, our player of the week? 6 carries, 300 yards, and 4 touchdowns for Friona in their 53-0 win over Denver. Gabriel Chico played great. All right, let's go Cooper Ogle for Shallowater. They won 55-0. He had 15 carries for 165 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first half. How about Tucker Lawrence of Floydada? They won 24-19 over Olton. He had 5 catches for 164 yards and 3 touchdowns. All right, Nathan Childers, of course, we say his name a lot. Nathan Childers is a real deal and will be on first team All-State. I'm going to say that right now. 212 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns. Watch it. All right, let's go to number 6. Wyatt Garden of Canyon Randall. 11 carries, 356 yards, and 4 6-packs. Let me say it again. 356 yards and 4 touchdowns. 11 carries. That's like 33 yards a carry, folks. All right, let's go to Marcos Diaz for Smyra. He had 188 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. Josh Lopez of Muleshoe had 3 touchdowns run on the ground to give Muleshoe that double threat attack. All right. Let's go to Barry Johnson for Sudan in the loss. Played great. 20 carries, 185 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And let's go ahead and go to Grant Sandercox. 264 yards and 6 touchdowns rushing for the Friendship Tigers. And let's go ahead and do our, what do we call this? Our honorable mention. Jalen Tennyson, Escado Matadors. 210 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. And the big touchdown at the end, the 49-yard burst with a minute to go to seal the win over Borger. Estacado's now 5-2. Looking good under Coach Vance out there. Y'all are playing great. All right, guys, next week there is a lot of big games coming up. We will be ready to cover those. Don't forget I'll be covering the Plainview, Abilene Cooper. I'm going to cover Lubbock High in the Lubbock Cooper game. Tuya and Idalou, Crosbyton and Rawls. We will be at all those games this week in Monterey, Coronado, of course. All right, I'm Jason Pearson. Victor Hatchett will be back next week. I appreciate y'all tuning in. God bless you guys. Have a safe week.